Good morning on this holiday Monday here in Canada. Anyway, I'm Laurie Anne King, and I'm a psychic medium and an intuitive coach. And every Sunday or Monday, I offer an in depth look at what's influencing us in this moment, our potentials, trends, obstacles, uh, our intellectual, emotional, spiritual energies, sort of whatever I'm drawn to at the moment. It's not like a set thing. And so I just plug in and see where we're going to go. And so today's psychic update, I hope it finds you well. This is a general reading, so if you're feeling like you want something that's more very bespoke to what you're dealing with right now, then I do recommend that you book a full session, and I'd love to dive into that realm of you more deeply. So for today, I was drawn into looking at the self dome, the dominion of self, the province of our being. And so I'm looking at the connection with yourself, the connection with others, the connection to obstacles, and the connection to outcomes, and then just sort of like wrapping it up with some really good advice. So, so that so so where I'm starting is this connection with the self, and the first thing that comes up here and is really interesting because imagine coming across a wormhole or a black vortex, like where everything's just being drawn into it, and you see it and you're curious about it, but you're also a little bit on edge about it as well because it looks kind of dangerous, like you're getting an alarm at a body mind level going off, but you're curious. And so you start hedging your way closer to it, trying to see the edge of it. It would be like going to the edge of a volcano in a sense, but this is sucking down energy, not explosive energy. And so you're moving to the edge because you want to check it out. You want to just sort of, get more information. So what does this represent? It represents change. And slice it, dice it any way you like. It is seductive, but it is terrifying at the same time. And so I feel like what we need to do is just let it take you in. The suggestion that it's in and not out is a clear, to me, allegory of internal journey going into you. And so if you're feeling uh, drawn to really diving into doing your own self work now like never before, go for it. Like, just go for it any way that you can, any way that you're drawn. Say yes. If someone makes a recommendation or you stumble across information, just check in and just say yes and just begin exploring this internal vortex of going to a new place, getting new information, and arriving at a new connection to yourself. We're actually sitting in a very transformational trend right now. So when I go into that connection to others around you in your life, the first thing that comes through here is that you can't help everybody. And that you are trying to help others around you who are stressy, anxious, and you can't take that away from them despite your efforts. That's their choice, that's their stuff, they're hanging on to it. It's what they've got to do until they get more information. So what can you do? So take them to the woods, take them to the sea, take them take them to the water's edge, take them out into nature, get them out of the space they're in, shove them in your car and drive somewhere and say, let's go for a walk in the forest. Let's do some forest bathing. Let's go on a drive through the hills of Trent Hills. Anything that takes them out of the environment that they're in so that they can start to find themselves again without you kind of telling them what they need to do. Just they need a reprieve, and they need an invitation only to reconnect to what they really want and what they're afraid of, and what they really want and what they're afraid of. So there you go. That is your job. And maybe it's you have to take into the woods. So the next thing I'm checking in are obstacles. And remember, this is general information. And the first thing that I have here is, it's like I'm being shown these heavy black, almost like railway ties, but they're black, they're like metal, which implies lots of sort of belief stuff, mental energy, and it's dense, it's you can't penetrate it, you can't change it, it's fixed opinions and ideas and laws, and it's like this heavy, seemingly impossible to move energy of authority in high seats that's coming up as an obstacle right now. But you are intuitively sensing that there's another controlling agenda being laid out, disguised as authority and law, that is for all, for the masses. So I want you to connect in, relax, use your discernment, mark out your own territory, go and piss in the four corners of your space, claim it. Do your thing, do you in your space. What you do outside of that is subject to these laws, but what you do in that space, which is the province of you, your being, your emotions, your mind, your spirit, that is nobody's business but yours. You bring no harm to anyone. You have no intention of bringing harm to anyone by being self-authoritative in your own sacred space. So claim and create, claim your sacred space. This is how people survived, POW camps, horrific discrimination and oppression. There can never be a loss of freedom of the province of who we are. So remember that, and never ever surrender that part of you, your free will. Sorry, that's kind of intense, but that's an obstacle that's around us right now. So we need to be mindful of that and draw in on our own resources. So the next thing I'm looking at are outcomes, kind of in general outcomes. And this is really fascinating. I got quite excited at this information because the first thing that showed up was the serpent eating its tail. And so this is alchemical, this is esoteric. This is like the beginning of some alchemical transformational change, because what I'm seeing is the mouth of the serpent has opened up. It's like this, and the tail is starting to curl round to the mouth. And so it hasn't begun yet, but it's preparing. And so we need to realize that we are alchemists and we are preparing for a transformation. And so ready yourselves for devouring your old self. ready yourself for a cycle of renewal. But you have to, go through that renewal means letting go of the old and, making that kind of change. So, that this is also a symbol of fertility, and it's also a phallic symbol, and it's like the mouth is like the womb, the opening into the womb, and so enter this womb space, and it's very cool. So so that's very powerful energy, and you can take it on to the degree that feels right to you. But this is sitting in the place of outcomes for where you're at in your life, collectively and individually. And so, yeah, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time in, like, where we are in the season, and but it's irrelevant based on where you are on the planet. So that doesn't, sorry, that I'll just throw that out. So the next piece I'm looking at is some general, okay, so let's wrap this up. So let's pull this together. And what I have is, it's about letting go of carrying burdens that are not yours. You are a nurturing, caring being. And this is the feminine aspect within you showing up, and determined to make a small dent in the burdens that those that you love carry. You are incurable. Me too. But we can't sustain ourselves without letting go and refreshing, rejuvenating, and letting go of the parts of the people that we're holding on to and caring for that are simply not being inspired, and just living off your goodness. And it's not intentional, it's not conscious. It's kind of easy. But there's this sense that as you sort of shift that energy, that it's liberating for those people, because they're disconnecting from an aspect of themselves that can be the same, caring, nurturing, loving being. And also that sort of self-care, rejuvenation piece coming in. Okay, so take yourself to the woods, take yourself to the sea, and, surrender and be rejuvenated. So I just have to add this other little piece, because when I got the image of the serpent eating its tail, I was curious. I couldn't remember the name of this, and so because it's an ancient symbol that's found in all ancient cultures, and I believe it originates in Egyptology, and so when I did that search, this image came up, which is one of my, I'm going to share it with you right now, which is one of my favorite artists, which is John William Waterhouse. And so I'm just going to share this screen with you guys right now. And let's see, here we go. Look at her. This is the representation today for you, to inspire you to connect to this witchery, this goddess, this temptress, this powerful, magical, empowered alchemist within you. If you look at her neck, she has the serpent curled around her neck. I mean, this is full of such rich symbolism. Look at the circle she's drawing around herself. She is carving out her sacred space. And look at the creatures on the outside of it that are acknowledging that she is claiming this space as her sacred space. And even though they are animal helpers, there's ravens, very powerful messengers. And she is brewing up this fire. She's creating her own vortex for herself to be drawn into, to heal, to rejuvenate, to restore, and to come deeply into her senses, to refresh her senses, her intuition, her insight, her discernment. It's very empowering. Anyway, that's the end of my message for today. Have a brilliant week. I hope this information serves you well, and I'll see you when I see you. Take care. See ya. Cheers.